Hi guys! If you're a Dragon Ball fan, you've probably heard of the legendary Super Saiyan. He was first introduced in the Freeza saga, but it was in Dragon Ball Super, Broly that we saw the transformation in all its glory. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 things you probably didn't know about the transformation of the legendary Super Saiyan. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. 1. The legendary Super Saiyan is not a simple transformation. When you think of transformations in Dragon Ball, you probably think of something like normal Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan Blue. But the transformation of the legendary Super Saiyan is very different. First, it is not achieved through training or sheer willpower. Instead, it is a legendary transformation that can only be achieved by a pure-blooded Saiyan every 1,000 years. This is what makes Broly so special. If there's one thing Dragon Ball fans know, it's that character transformations are a fundamental part of the series. From Goku's transformation into a Super Saiyan to Frieza's final form, each has its own impact on the story and mythology of the series. But the transformation of the legendary Super Saiyan is special because it isn't just another simple transformation. For starters, achieving this form isn't natural like achieving normal Super Saiyan form, instead an intense emotional trauma must occur for someone to unlock their potential as legendary SSJ. It's almost as if their body responds to pain and suffering by transforming them into an unstoppable force. Additionally, the legendary SSJ transformation brings with itself psychological changes too, which transforms characters into destruction machines without any control over themselves. This was evident from Broly, who destroyed everything around him including his allies and even his own father. Speaking about Broly himself, he's an interesting character because he's not your typical villain. He's not evil by nature, but rather due to the trauma he suffered in his childhood. This makes his transformation into a legendary Super Saiyan even more dangerous, as he is driven only by anger and the desire for destruction. But perhaps the biggest difference between the transformation of the legendary Super Saiyan and other transformations in Dragon Ball is its durability. While other forms can be used for a limited period of time, the transformation of the legendary Super Saiyan seems to be permanent, which means that characters are stuck in this form forever. This is a major disadvantage because they can become uncontrollable and turn into a threat to everyone around them. For all these reasons, the legendary SSJ transformation remains one of most fascinating yet dangerous transformations across entire Dragon Ball universe. IT represents an unstoppable force, but also poses as a threat to everyone around it. So next time you watch Dragon Ball Z, Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, remember that this isn't just another simple transformation. 2. The cost of achieving legendary SSJ transformation is high. Once Broly transforms into legendary SSJ, he becomes practically invincible. However, there's always been an emotional cost associated with this transformation. The first time Broly transformed, he completely lost control over himself and went into blind rage. In fact, he became so powerful that even his own parents had difficulty controlling him. This was something Goku or Vegeta never experienced before. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball, you've definitely seen the legendary Super Saiyan transformation in action. But what many don't know is that this transformation comes at a high cost. No, I'm not talking about energy costs or anything like that. I'm talking about emotional and psychological costs. To start with, the achievement itself isn't easy. The warrior needs immense power along with deep emotional pain in order to unlock their potential as LSSJ. This means that character has to go through deep emotional pain in order to achieve this form, and once they do achieve it, things get even more complicated. The transformation of the legendary Super Saiyan is not a simple physical change. It also brings about a psychological change, turning the character into an uncontrollable machine of destruction. This means that the character can become violent and aggressive, losing control over their own actions. And this can lead to devastating consequences for the character and those around them. Furthermore, the transformation of the legendary Super Saiyan seems to be permanent, which means that the character is stuck in this form forever. This is a major disadvantage as it can make the character uncontrollable and turn into a threat to everyone around them. This means that the character needs to learn how to control their transformation or face the consequences of their actions. And speaking of consequences, there are many. In Dragon Ball Z, Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan story, we see Broly destroying everything around him including his allies and even his own father. This shows that the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan can have terrible consequences for everyone around the character. In summary, the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan is one of most powerful in all Dragon Ball universe, but also one of most dangerous too. It can cause characters to lose control and become a threat to everyone around them, so if you're training warrior, remember that transforming into legendary Super Saiyan has high cost and you must be prepared for it. 3. The transformation of legendary Super Saiyan is based on a real legend. The idea behind a legendary Super Saiyan isn't just something made up by Dragon Ball writers, there's actually real legend behind it. The legend behind legendary Super Saiyans is based on Japanese folklore surrounding Tengu creatures who were known for being extremely strong martial artists with red hair and fierce eyes, similar to what we see when someone transforms into a legendary Super Saiyan. Did you know that the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan was based on real legend? That's right. This incredible transformation seen in anime is inspired by an ancient legend from a millennial culture. According to the legend, there was once a legendary warrior who possessed great power. This warrior fought against evil forces that threatened the world and was ultimately betrayed by his own comrades. In his final battle, he was betrayed again and defeated, but his life energy remained in his body, creating an aura of power that became legendary. This aura was passed down through generations until it finally awakened in a very powerful warrior, giving rise to the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan. This transformation is the personification of the legendary warrior's power aura, and those who achieve it are able to channel all their power. The inspiration behind the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan from real legend is just another example of how culture and mythology can influence creation of incredible stories. And not only that, this legend also brings deep meaning for transformation, showing us that power isn't something given but rather something earned through struggle and perseverance. Of course, as we're talking about Dragon Ball, the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan is presented in much more exaggerated way with many more explosions than original legend, but this what makes series so fun and exciting, right? So if you're a fan of Dragon Ball and never heard about the legend inspiring the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan, now you know. And if you still don't know this amazing transformation, go watch episodes now. For the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan was originally meant to be canon. When legendary Super Saiyan first introduced in Dragon Ball Z, Return of Cooler movie, it wasn't considered canon. However, creator Akira Toriyama originally intended for transformation to be canon. He changed his mind after considering how difficult it would be explain why Goku or Vegeta had never heard about legendary Super Saiyan before. Believe it or not, friends, the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan was originally meant to be canon in Dragon Ball Z. That's right. This iconic transformation we see in franchise almost didn't exist. According to Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama, the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan was originally planned to be introduced during Freeza saga. The idea was for Vegeta to achieve transformation, defeat Freeza and become series protagonist. However, Toriyama changed his mind and decided it would be more interesting if Goku were the one responsible for defeating Freeza. Thus, the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan was postponed until Cell Saga when Goku transforms for first time. But what's curious about this whole story is that even though it was postponed, the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan became one of most important moments in series. It not only showed incredible power of Saiyan's warriors but also introduced new level of power that Goku and friends would need to reach face new enemies. So if you're a fan of Dragon Ball, you can thank Akira Toriyama for changing his mind and including the transformation of legendary Super Saiyan in series. If he hadn't, who knows what franchise would look like today? And if you haven't seen the transformation in action yet, don't waste any more time and go watch the episodes. After all, seeing Goku transform into a legendary warrior and destroying everything around him is one of the best feelings in life. 5. The legendary Super Saiyan has a completely different fighting style. If you've seen Broly in action, you know that he fights very differently from Goku and Vegeta. While the latter two have a very fluid and technical fighting style, Broly is much more brutal and direct. This is something that is reflected in the transformation of the legendary Super Saiyan. When Broly transforms, his physical strength increases enormously and he becomes an unstoppable and wild fighter, attacking with brutal and powerful blows. This indicates that the transformation not only increases the Saiyan's strength but also affects their personality and combat abilities. Friends, if you think that the legendary Super Saiyan is just a transformation with different yellow hair, you are very mistaken. In fact, the fighting style of the legendary Super Saiyan is completely different from that of other Saiyan warriors. While normal Saiyans fight with precise techniques and calculated movements, the legendary Super Saiyan is more brute forceful and aggressive. He uses his brute strength and destructive power to finish off his opponents without caring about consequences. In addition, the legendary Super Saiyan is much faster and agile than other Saiyans. His speed can be so great that he may seem almost invisible to his opponent's eyes, making him an extremely difficult opponent to defeat. Another thing that makes the legendary Super Saiyan unique is his endurance. He can withstand powerful blows without suffering major damage, which makes him even harder to defeat. But it's important to remember that transforming into a legendary Super Saiyan comes at a high price, and its fighting style isn't an exception. When a warrior transforms into a legendary Super Saiyan, they run risk of losing complete control and becoming a threat to everyone around them. Therefore, it is important to be very careful when using this transformation and should only be used in extreme moments of danger. So, friends, now that you know that the legendary Super Saiyan has a completely different fighting style, I hope you are ready to see this transformation in action. But remember, always with responsibility and care. So those are the 5 things you probably didn't know about the transformation of the legendary Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball Super, Broly. It's a powerful and legendary transformation that adds a new dimension to the universe of Dragon Ball. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you want more content about Dragon Ball and other anime, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and activate notifications so as not to miss any videos. See you next time. If you liked the content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll stay here until next time.